This is episode number 426 of the Health and Fitness Show by InnerFight, brought to you in association with Smith Street Paleo. In this show, we sit down with a guy who created something because he had a need for it. Joel Burgess from Nutrifix. This is an amazing story, and I'm sure you guys will be able to resonate a lot with it. Happens a lot in life where we just need something, and Joel has gone out and created something. So check him out, Joel Burgess, Nutrifix. Don't forget to connect with him over on Instagram, and if you hop over to the show notes, innerfight.com/podcast426, you can even get Joel's email address. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Joel Burgess, thanks a lot, mate, for joining us. What a small world.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, no, it is. I think I've weirdly stalked the guys in your gym on Instagram for quite a while anyway.
We'll jump into that later. Mate, we've just been talking before we started recording about a new concept that you've sort of come up with related to health and fitness. But give us a little bit of a background, mate, because you're in Dubai, you're working for Al Shire, which is a bit, for the folks that don't know, is a big retail company, and you're in property, but now you're in health and fitness. So tell us, and you're obviously quite a big guy, so tell us how it all has come around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my passion's always been health and fitness. As I was sort of saying earlier, I used to work in Dubai in the property sector, so locating restaurants basically to open up. They seconded me to London to open up Shake Shack in London.
So I actually saw Shake Shack when I was walking here this morning. I was like, you see loads of those in Dubai now. That's owned by Al Shire as well.
Exactly, yeah. So I was put here to basically open up Shake Shacks in the UK. So really healthy food, of course. So that was my job. So like scoping out restaurant sites in London. I was always basically eating on the go. And I really struggled with my weight, eating healthily. Found myself in Pret every day, eating a baguette just out of pure laziness.
Pret is everywhere in London. And
exactly.
I saw it yesterday actually as well. They're sort of trying to claim that all their ingredients are now super healthy, but at the end of the day, yogurt is yogurt and granola is granola, and not really very good for you.
Exactly. So I kind of went out to solve this problem for myself. I tried following a strict diet plan. I'm not the kind of guy to prep all my meals. Right. I'm just not organised like that.
Why not, mate? Because I think that's something quite big at the moment. Like, people are just not. Was it for you purely time?
Purely time.
Yeah.
I really value my evenings, and I just don't want to be prepping all my meals. Yeah. And I know it can only take 1-2 hours, but my time is at the moment so valuable.
Absolutely.
That I find when I get back home, I want to be 100% present, chatting to my fiance and what have you. So it just wasn't something I've ever. Right. And these are all the excuses in the world. I
think you're not on your own, mate. I'm quite lucky that Holly cooks a lot of food for us because she's testing a lot for Smith Street. But I think a lot of people are in the same boat. Sometimes when Holly used to travel, I was on my own. I'd rather try and find the healthiest eat out option or delivery option that I've got, because that would mean I can sit and play on my laptop, or not play, but everyone calls it play, but actually work for the 2 hours that it might take to cook.
Exactly, yeah. So we'd cook most evenings, but just not a kind of guy to prep for the next day or for the rest of the week. So I kind of accepted I was always going to eat out for lunch, and that was just. So I sort of went out to sort of try and solve this for me. So, being a mechanical engineer originally, I developed an Excel sheet that basically had the data of the meals I should be eating from all the biggest chains around London. Yeah. So I knew exactly what to eat in Pret, Leon, Itsu, and what have you.
Wow.
Really, really sad. Fully appreciate that.
Mate, I've done some interesting Excel stunts myself, so I'm no one to talk.
So anyway, I actually ended up selling that Excel sheet to loads of people for 75 quid, and I kind of thought, if someone's going to pay for a spreadsheet, there's something in this.
For
75 I know. So I was just like, okay, actually. So I started speaking to people, and actually people were like, you're solving a genuine problem here. I eat out all the time, but I don't know what to eat, and I think people are also frustrated at being marketed to as something being healthy, and then finding out it has 30-40 grams of sugar. Granola, your yogurt pots, for example.
Massive issue these days.
They're marketed as healthy yogurt. but actually they've got 20, 30 grams of sugar, and it's just... so one of our big missions... actually, sorry, before I jump into that. So basically, in short, what the app does is exactly that. So it locates healthy meals nearby, tailored to your body's needs.
Right.
So what we want to do is sort of take away the stress of healthy eating on the go.
Right.
Just automate that for you. So wherever you are, we will locate the best meal for you.
So you're almost like you have an app that's almost a database of healthy restaurants. And restaurants where you can calculate how much... If people are interested in the macronutrients or the sort of quality of the food, you also have all of that information.
Exactly that, yeah. Wow. So all your macronutrients, but then we look at like sugar, fats, saturated fats, monounsaturated fats, salt. We want to the data's getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
But also, our bigger mission is not just the sort of the health bubble.
Yes.
It's actually helping people who don't know what a calorie is.
Yeah.
And actually that's sort of the bigger goal is sort of helping people who just want to make a better decision. So eventually we will have, unhealthier places on there because if they can make a healthier choice when they're in Nando's or wherever it is, we're putting them in the right direction. So, that's sort of where we're at.
And so you've got your spreadsheet. You've made this insane spreadsheet that anyone who can sell a spreadsheet for £75 is onto something. What was sort of the next step? Because I think this is also something that's interesting for a lot of our listeners. We have a lot of listeners that are sort of riding the desk of the corporate world, and they have a great idea, like you obviously had, and they want to jump out, but they're not quite sure. What was the sort of tipping point for you? At what stage were you like, my spreadsheet's sold for 75 quid. I know what I'm doing. We can make this happen.
Yeah, so I think I dived straight into it.
Yeah.
And if I'd done it all again, I wouldn't have done what I did. I dived straight into it. I just wasted a lot of money building an app. I dived straight into it. I went, I'm onto something.
Yeah.
Everyone was giving me such, good feedback and, saying this is going to be huge. And I just bought it all. I was just like, okay. I read how to build $1 billion app. Yeah. And then next day I was, researching app developers.
No way.
And pretty soon after that I had instructed an app developer.
Wow.
So I just wouldn't have done that all again. I made a big mistake doing that. But having said that, that commitment and that sort of initial prototype we had built allowed me to prove various things that eventually allowed us to fundraise. Yeah. So in October we actually pitched to Just Eat, and they were sort of the first investors. Right. And at that point, my job in Dubai with Al Shire, they asked me to move back to Dubai. Yeah. Just Eat invested, and it just felt the right time to go for it.
How was that, mate? Because obviously a lot of people start a business quite small without investment, but you've gone in and you were raising capital at the start. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Really just raised with an idea, a prototype, a little bit of traction, but they bought into me, they bought into my vision, they bought into my passion, and it's really sort of telling that story. The story I just told, when you tell that to investors, they buy into that, and that's all there kind of is at the outset. It wasn't a huge amount of investment they initially put down, so 20 grand. Yeah. But then 3 months later, we raised 200 grand. Right. With not much more, to be fair. Yeah. But we had Just Eat on our name, behind us. We had a little bit more traction, but again, people just bought into that story.
So you just sort of go, tell the story, knocked a few doors, and Just Eat were obviously ready to chuck some money in the pot.
So I think a big lesson from that for anyone with an idea. Yeah. I think I was initially quite nervous about telling people my idea. Yeah. Because they might go and make it the next day. But actually, what you realise, everyone's got their own thing going on, and the more people you tell, the more people will help you out. And you just tell everybody, get feedback, just embrace getting your idea out there, and people will just put you in touch with people.
Yeah, I think that's a massive point, mate. A lot of people are quite sort of silent about it, and I understand, but I also think, absolutely agree with you that no one's going to steal your idea straight away, and if you're fast enough and aggressive enough, just crack on and do it.
Yeah, and their interpretation of it is going to be so much different to yours. So whatever happens, if they do go and try and copy it, it's going to be a different product at the end of the day.
Yeah. So what have you started out, you're on your own, you've got some investment, you've dived headfirst into building an app, which was the first mistake. How does it come next, mate? Because obviously with an app and with technology, and I think people are saying, okay, there's quick wins in technology because everyone needs apps and stuff, but is it really that straightforward? Like, you've built a whole algorithm, like lots of people speak about algorithms, but what really are they? So that must be quite a complex process as well.
Yeah, so once we raised the second time, we actually went through the process we should have done originally, or I should have done originally. Right. So we got it all properly UX'd and designed, and we did loads of user testing. It took us, quite a few months to go through that process, and then we built the app that we've just launched.
Right.
We're actually, it's about a year down the line, and we're still not at the sort of product market fit, is what we call it, say, in tech.
Yeah.
So it's not a case of go and build an app at the end that it's built at the end and then you launch it and then you just make loads of money on the back of that. It's a constant ongoing and iterating and changing and testing, and so it's a pretty arduous process.
Yes.
And my job is basically prioritizing. Every 2 weeks I prioritize either bugs or new features.
Wow.
And getting that prioritization right will be, I think, key to success.
One of the things you said, and it's something that's probably on the tip of a lot of people's tongues, is managing sort of macronutrient breakdown. You spoke about sugars and stuff. How through an app do you decide, like, I want to have lunch now, and how do you decide what I should be having as a, I'm a 39-year-old male, I've got such and such goals. How does the app determine what we need?
Yeah, so through the sort of onboarding of the app, we ask you a few questions, as you said, like your age, your activities, so how often you're working out, your goals, whether you want to lose weight, put on muscle, if you've got any dietary preferences, a vegan, vegetarian, what have you. And then from that, we basically build a profile around you, similar to what you'll do with any sort of personal training client or nutrition client. So it's, this is how many calories you should be eating in a day. Because we haven't got down into like the real goal-specific, like, sort of professional athletes yet.
Yeah.
We give a pretty general macro recommendation. So 25% protein, 30% fat, 45% carbs.
Right.
And then basically we score a meal on how close it is to hitting those goals.
Right.
Plus, we look at things like sugar, saturated fat, monounsaturated fat, salt. And then we combine that score and come up with a score out of 100. Right. That's our sort of algorithm.
Right.
That basically scores every meal nearby.
Wow.
And it's the simplest way of saying, this is a well-balanced meal.
Yeah.
It's going to hit your calorie and macronutrient goals.
Yes.
But also, it hasn't got that much fat in. It hasn't got much salt in. Yeah. And sugar's at a pretty good level.
Yeah.
That's our sort of simplest way of saying this is the best meal for you.
That's the best meal. How do you get that information, though, from the food retailers, restaurants, whoever they are?
Yes, we've partnered with a data company who calculate that for them.
Right.
So,
Is that a legal thing that restaurants now have to show, if asked, what the macronutrient content of a meal is?
Yeah, it's actually not yet. I think it's coming in. I think in the States that they're very much ahead of us.
Yeah.
If you go to the States, pretty much most restaurants will have on the menu the calorie content.
Yeah.
And I think that's a necessity there, but not here yet.
So you get that information. So all of these restaurants, they'd have the meal sits on your app with that information on it.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something, I mean, mate, it's sort of taking, I would say, like Deliveroo and Uber convenience and location guidance to another level, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because I think that's one of the biggest things. Like when we do go to a city, especially if we're new in a city, we sort of sit and eat in a restaurant and then walk around the corner and there's something a lot healthier. So there's a lot to say for a database. But how did you guys go out and get the restaurants to come into your app and to actually agree to be with you?
Yeah, at the start it was pretty difficult, like a bit of a chicken and egg. The fact that we had Just Eat on our name was massive. We could drop that name. And it was just a case of knocking on doors and calling and emails.
Really?
It's a tough process still.
Yeah.
Restaurants are notoriously understaffed, busy. Especially with the independents, the owner is usually the manager. He usually does. He's usually the chef, the marketing, and everything. So to get hold of him is pretty difficult. But
have you seen like a massive change from probably when you left to Dubai to when you came back to London on the actual offer of restaurants? Because I think that landscape is changing a lot. I mean, it's changing in the Middle East, and it's definitely changing in the States. What's the sort of changes that you've seen in London?
Oh, huge. I think that sort of the general healthy eating is just growing so quickly, which is amazing. I think there's two trends. The trend for transparency, which we're sort of really trying to drive, that actually people are asking to see what's in their food, and that's what we're really behind. There's definitely a movement to sort of more plant-based and sustainable food, and vendors that are jumping on that are really, really faring well. The like of Pret, for example. They were the first to do the 50p off a cup of coffee if you take plastic coffee, your mug in, and things like that. So vendors that are jumping on the sustainability, the plant-based movement are definitely faring well.
Let's jump straight into that, mate. I was hoping you'd bring it up. What is your thoughts on the plant-based movement? And I mean, it was kicked off a year ago, really, wasn't it, by What the Health documentary? What's your thoughts on it all?
I think I genuinely think it can be quite dangerous. Taken in the wrong context. There has to be an understanding that you're going to be missing out some key nutrients if you move to a fully plant-based diet. And you need to supplement that. If you're not, you're going to be missing out a lot of key nutrients, and your health's going to suffer. But on the flip side of that, there is definitely some good positive things from it. Sustainability, the fact we're eating more fibre, the fact that there's more choice, more vegetarian choice is such a good thing. I love vegetarian food, but I also understand that I need to get my full amino acids from a good source of protein, iron and what have you from other sources. So, it's obviously good and bad.
I just see a lot of people that have moved to... People have moved blindly, in my opinion, to a vegan diet and don't really understand what it's all about. And the fact that their body probably does have quite serious intolerances to a lot of beans, grains, stuff like chickpeas as well. And they're worse off once they move to it than they were eating meat.
I don't know the facts behind soy, but I've heard soy is actually incredibly unsustainable. And it's one of the biggest replacements for any protein in a vegan diet.
And it tastes like shit.
And it tastes like shit.
It's disgusting.
I know.
I know one of the one restaurant that I use in Dubai, Pokey Pokey. They have tofu in their bowls, and I had it one day, and it just tastes terrible.
Tofu is the worst.
And then you sort of get people that say, "Oh no, this is nice tasting tofu." I'm sort of like, "Well, really? is that really the case?" But I mean, they're like you say, a lot of restaurants are trying to incorporate a vegetarian option. Have you guys got enough data to see the changes over the time that you've been operating? To see like actually of the meals that are being ordered through us, X amount are now vegetarian?
We've only been live a month, so we haven't really been able to see that change. But we would say 40% of our users have some sort of either vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, and there's even an increasing amount. I reckon of the 60% that aren't vegetarian or vegan, would say they're probably a good majority of flexitarian. So
what's your thoughts on flexitarianism, mate?
Well, I suppose that kind of does accept that they do need to be taking in proteins from other sources. So it is, I definitely eat less red meat now. I eat way more fish. So I would say I'm sort of moving into that camp. But at the same time, I will always be eating fish, and eventually, once a week, I'll probably have red meat. It's
quite an interesting concept. When I first heard of it about 6 to 8 weeks ago, and actually just laughed.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah, there's a name for everything, right?
There's an ism for everything. But then I guess when you think about it, it does sort of make sense if people, like a lot of people that use alcohol maybe only drink on the weekend, so they're fully controlled, they have a couple of drinks on the weekend, and other people understand, like you were saying, that there is a lot of benefits to being plant-based, but at the same time, there is a lot of benefits from good quality meat, so they're going to incorporate them at the weekends as well. But when I first heard it, I was kind of a little bit. But it's interesting you say that 40% of your users are on that base. One thing that I noticed when you were showing me the app before is that you sort of select what your eating preferences are. Does it then only show me the restaurant that's, if I select that I'm vegetarian, will it only show me vegetarian restaurants, or do I still get to see what the other people are eating?
Yeah, so that's something we're thinking about, but actually at the moment we only show you vegetarian.
That's quite cool.
Yeah. So we cut out everything.
That's very cool.
Well, there's always a bit of there's always a data in the error in the data. It's like, oh, freaking sausage sandwich pops up and get
vegan
angry vegan.
But I think that's quite interesting as well, isn't it? Because it's like you've chosen when you log into the app that you're vegan or you want vegetarian choices, so we're just going to filter everything out and give you what's in raw.
Exactly, yeah.
Where do you think it will go, though? Because obviously I think in 2017 when What the Health came out, a lot of people, and it created, I think, some really good awareness. And for the people that thought eating packaged or tinned spam, for example, was healthy, have realised that maybe it's not. But what are your thoughts, maybe in a year's time, where we'll stand on vegetarianism, really?
I think it'll still be around.
Yeah.
I think hopefully, the people like Jamie Oliver and, their messaging of, okay, it's okay to eat meat.
Yeah.
As long as it comes from a really good source.
Yes.
I think hopefully that message will become louder.
Yeah.
And more heard. And I can't see vegan, being as... I can't see it taking, continuing on this trend, to be honest.
Yeah. I think as well, like I was saying before, like a lot of people perhaps move to a vegan diet and expect that they're going to feel a load better, they're going to lose weight, and they don't, because A, they don't give it long enough, or B, it's just not a way of eating that suits their body.
Yeah.
Like it just, the grains and the beans just sit in the gut, and some people can digest it and some people can't.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably petered out a little bit as well.
I suppose there's two sides on there. There are vegans and vegetarians that are vegan vegetarians because of the animal rights and what have you. But the other side of people who are looking to get health benefits from being a vegan.
Yeah.
But you're missing so many good. An egg is the most nutritious item of food that you can have. So it's like there has to be that understanding there.
Yeah. I actually remember I did a food tolerance test just under a year ago, and the nutritionist said, you have an allergy to eggs.
Oh.
Cut them out for a year.
Right.
And I actually did about 6 months.
Right.
And didn't feel any different.
Right.
And put them back in, controlled and slowly.
Right.
And again, didn't feel better or worse. So I was like, but it's funny that you say egg, because so many people that I see going for a food intolerance test come back with a problem with eggs.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but then you sort of give someone eggs and they don't really have a problem. But I think that's where we maybe a little bit not there yet, or maybe a little bit naive as in consumers, and nutritionists will tell us this all day long. Yeah, you might feel good, but what's it doing inside? And I think that's something that's a little bit difficult to measure as well, because at the end of the day, if we feel good and we perform good, we're doing well.
Yeah.
Talk to us, mate, a little bit on the app, sort of how the pricing works, how the restaurant makes money, how you guys make money, and how you've got partnership with Deliveroo as well. I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of our users were ordering delivery 3-5 times a week. Right. So we wanted to sort of solve that pain point.
Yeah.
Deliveroo don't have a minimum spend for lunch.
Right.
So we're seeing a big shift in sort of city people ordering delivery, at lunchtime. So we can recommend meals to have delivered. We can link through to Deliveroo, who then deliver it. Yeah. We take a commission from that.
Right.
We're offering click and collect soon, so you can pre-order meals, collect
cool.
it when you get there.
Yeah.
Again, we take a commission from that. So we're sort of an affiliate of a lot of these sort of channels.
Right.
We're then also partnered with MyDNA, so it's a DNA testing company.
Wow.
So they can then you get your DNA tested, and then that DNA then feeds through to our recommendations on the app. So if for me, for example, I should be on a high carb, low fat diet.
Yep.
I've got the fat gene, so I'm like susceptible to overeating. So if you give me good fat, my brain just logs out. I carry on eating. I binge eat, and
really.
So that data is really interesting for me.
Is that the DNA test that you do with a swab?
Yes.
Mouth swab.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So then that's a premium side of the product where it gets into that level.
That's a super for the folks that haven't heard about that. That's actually a super interesting test to do. Again, I think it's very down to the individual how they react to the results that they get, but just through a simple swab in your mouth, you put that into like a test tube, post it off, and within a few weeks you get quite a detailed report back. And it's not overly expensive, is it?
No, so MyDNA are around it ranges between £50 and £100.
Yeah,
which is pretty reasonable.
Yeah. And you can, and it'll tell you how, like you said, if you should. It's quite general. Should be eating like a high carb diet, low fat.
Yeah.
I think that's some of the biggest things as well. Is that and one of the ones that's huge at the moment, especially in the States, is the keto diet, which is massively high fat.
Yeah.
But if, like you don't have the enzyme available to digest that fat, then you're just going to get fat.
Yeah.
And you're going to have no energy because you're not going to be able to call on carbohydrate to have it. So,
exactly.
That's a super test. So you guys are affiliated with them?
Yeah, so we're affiliated. So through our app, you can basically get a subscription to them.
Right.
You then get a DNA testing. That then tailors the recommendations in our app.
Wow.
So that's a premium product we're going to be launching with them. So yeah.
So how do you guys actually make money? If I'm a restaurant and I'm on your app and I charge maybe £10 for the meal, does a cut of that then go to...
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
So we take a commission from you, a commission from Deliveroo, and then the premium products I was saying, the subscription from the vendors.
So the app is free?
Yep.
And there's no initial setup and there's no subscription. So to the consumer, it's just like buying your lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
But with nutritional guidance.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So then there is a premium product for users.
Yeah.
But that's that sort of DNA testing, the tailoring. That's more for people who really want to get into that sort of granular feedback. So that's a premium subscription. Which we charge for.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Mate, something that's come, I think, more to the forefront in the last year or so is tracking macros, tracking food, and an app for that's been super successful is MyFitnessPal, where people can see, especially for us, like as coaches at the gym, we have, like, Carmen does a lot of nutrition coaching. Even Andre, that's coaching CrossFit athletes, wants to see what nutrition is. Do you guys have a way to manage if I'm ordering from the app, can I see what I've ordered and what I've eaten on that day? Is there something like that integrated?
We haven't built in tracking yet.
Right.
We kind of want to. It's a real challenge because we kind of want to get away from tracking a little bit, because I think it can produce a relatively negative relationship with food.
This is exactly where I wanted to get to. Brilliant.
But at the same time, it is kind of needed to give you a good idea.
Yeah.
So what we want to do, and like we were sort of born out of, what we want to do is the flip of MyFitnessPal. So rather than actually recording what you've eaten, we want to sort of empower you to make the better choice next.
Yeah.
So eventually we will build in, food recipes, maybe meal packs, what have you.
Wow.
So whatever decision you make, we can tell you the best decision for you.
Right.
So we're sort of trying to look ahead.
So
rather
you're
than
pre-medicating rather than post-medicating.
Exactly, yeah. So that's kind of the way we look at it.
That's awesome.
But at the same time, our biggest challenge is the fact that a lot of our users are tracking their food.
Right.
And that's and the benefit of our app is that they can immediately quickly see the macros and the calories and what have you, and quickly add it across. So it's a bit of a balance because
it's tough.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, mate, about the sort of general population that are, in my opinion, I'll share it, are just getting completely obsessed with the tracking of macros. And the best example I give is I see people that have been tracking macros for 6 months, a year, and are not in good shape and have not changed a lot. So what do you think about the whole sort of macro movement, as it were?
Yeah, I think there's a time and a place to do it for 3 to 5 days,
right? To
get a good idea, a rough idea of how many calories.
I love it, yeah.
And then you can move away from that and use that information, use that knowledge to then sort of make you make better choices and be more aware of what is in a calorie and what's calorie. So I think going through that process makes you more aware of what you're eating.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think there is more to life.
Yeah.
It's incredibly time consuming.
Yeah.
And actually, if you just bring your nutrition back to simples, if you're hitting roughly your calorie allowance in a day, and you're moving more than you're eating, you're going to be losing weight. Yeah. And I think people overcomplicate it. They look at the nth degree, the sugars versus the fiber. Yeah. And actually, just hit your calories, hit your protein, move more, sleep well. Yeah. You're going to be.
Yeah. I think you've absolutely nailed it. That is very in line with what I think as well. And people will be obsessive with their nutrition, which I think being obsessed to a certain extent is good. Like you say, you should be knowing what you're eating, and for the most people, you should just be able to figure out what works well on a consistent basis. Not that, okay, today I'm having a load of food and tomorrow I'm going to starve myself, unless obviously you're in a fast. But then, they'll be just totally obsessed with it to the nth degree, and then their sleep will be absolutely terrible, and their training will be very sort of disjointed. Yeah. And so it's sort of that more holistic approach for people that are working in an office, 9 to 5, something like that, which the big part of the population actually are, and we're not all going to be professional athletes, so people just need to relax a little bit on it. But I love what you guys are doing in the way that you're, like you said, you're sort of giving people the choice, and you're educating them, and you're almost guiding people to the right food, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I think if you take a look at like Weight Watchers, for example, why they've done so well is they've just simplified it. Yes, they've got their Weight Watcher points, and how easy is that? And we're kind of looking to do the same really with the Nutrifix score. Yes. It's like simple as, the higher the score, the better. Yeah. And then through that process, you're then learning and actually realizing that healthy food isn't necessarily a salad or low carb this, low calorie. It's actually a pretty well balanced meal. Yeah.
That can taste good.
That can taste good. Exactly.
It's the funniest thing. Obviously, with the Smith Street business, we do meal delivery plans, and people are like, oh, this is the first meal delivery plan that tastes good, and it's home cooked paleo food basically. So it's food that tastes good. But then on the flip side, we get the fats in the porridge is way too high. It's like but it's nuts. It's not high. You don't have a lot of calories because it's cornflakes or something like that. It's because it's nuts, and it's good for you unless you have a fat issue. Mate, you've started out in London. Obviously, your ties are here and it all works here. But this sounds like something that should and could very quickly be like global. I mean, it could be amazing in Dubai. It could be great in New York and these places. Is that something that you guys are maybe thinking about?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, our goal this year is basically prove out the unit metrics, prove out the product, basically validate our business, to raise a big round towards the end of the year, right? And that will allow us to scale internationally. It's a very scalable product, so we can grow internationally very quickly. So cities like Dubai, New York, absolutely perfect. Dubai, would be perfect. The amount of delivery people order there is unreal. And if you knew the best delivery or the best meal to have for you there, I know I'd have used it in Dubai. So
I know when they launched McDonald's in Dubai and with delivery, I knew that we were heading in the right direction for life. It is. What are the threats to your model, mate? Like what could potentially be your downfall though within what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a model based on a lot of people, high volume, right? And that takes a lot of money to buy. And we haven't figured that bit out yet in terms of what's our route to market. Yes, and we're kind of testing at the moment. What's the best channel? What's your best what's the best language, what's the best market.
Yeah.
You know, so ensuring we know the cheapest way to acquire a load of users,
right,
for cheaper than what that user makes us.
Right.
You know, so figuring that bit out. There is still a huge amount of complexity around the data. You know, restaurants are so far behind tech.
Really?
You know, their EPOS, so their payment systems, how they, a lot of restaurants don't calculate their nutritional information. So that threat there, that amount of data we have to keep up to date and keep changing and keep up with the menus, that's an incredible amount of work.
You must have quite a big sort of what I'd call back office, the guys that don't really get seen, to make sure that all of that's... Because how many restaurants do you have on the app at the moment?
Yes, we've got around 150. Right. So that's about 12,000 locations.
Wow. So they make a couple of menu changes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's mayhem.
Yeah, so we're around 5,000 meals, but we're getting around 20 restaurants a week at the moment.
Wow.
So it's a lot of...
So people have now started coming to you, they want to be on the app.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's at the same time, it's the beauty of tech is if you get the unit metrics right, so the fact that a user will make us more than cost to acquire them, if we get that right, it's infinitely scalable.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, if we're building the right back office, the right product, it's incredibly scalable. So,
how do you reach the consumer, mate? Because obviously we both move within the health and fitness industry, so we, a new juice shop opens, we want to know, we want to be there, and we sort of find it on Instagram or find it anywhere. But how do you guys, as a healthy food delivery solution, how do you get to your customers?
Yeah, so we've got we run these sort of 2 weekly marketing sprints. So every 2 weeks we're sort of testing a new channel.
Right.
But the big things that have been big for us at the moment is content.
Right.
Which is driven to a lot of partnerships. So we've partnered with Tough Mudder.
Okay.
And I kind of 6-9 months ago, I've kind of gone long on content. I just feel that content builds a brand, because we want to build more than an app. We want to be a brand, a trusted brand. That, and I think that's really, really paid off. Because we've partnered with Tough Mudder. We've pitched to Waitrose. Those sorts of partnerships. That's what's going to get us millions of users.
That'll get you the exposure.
Leveraging their, piggybacking their success.
How many users do you need, or do you have a 6-month target, or by the end of the year, what's your sort of goals?
So our sort of monthly target, so monthly active users by the end of the year, we want to be up to 50,000.
Wow.
Big goals.
What's the population of London?
Is it 4 million?
That's not too bad then.
Yeah, and I think there's 1.5 million gym members in London.
Is that right?
Yeah, so that's
we haven't really spoken about that. What's the change of the gym and fitness landscape in London? Because I imagine it is changed a lot since you sort of left to go to Dubai, and probably in the time that you've been back as well.
Yes, it's a huge change. A big movement away from the sort of Globo gym, and a big sort of movement to... It's been a lot of classes, a lot of your sort of Barry's Boot Camp and One Rebel.
I'm actually chatting to the guy, one of the head trainers from Barry's Boot Camp later this week, so that'll be interesting.
So a lot of classes like that have come in. I think there's now sort of a movement towards CrossFit's big here, but I wouldn't say it's really taken off.
No.
I think there's a bit of a movement between sort of quasi CrossFit, quasi strongman, and a bit of movement. Sort of, I think that's sort of where gyms are sort of going to. The sort of semi-private gyms with a few classes, but they've got that sort of CrossFit, strongman, and they do sort of more sort of calisthenics movement type.
Just getting people strong but moving well as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess the growth of that sort of person fits in quite well with what you guys are doing as well, because they're also, they just want to take better care of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you say on your app, guiding people to make better choices.
Exactly. Yeah, there's definitely been you see it in the gym. People are so much know so much more about how to train. You see people doing mobility, and 5 years ago it was just like you walk in, you whack three plates on the bench and you do
crack your neck a bit.
Exactly. And you're away. And now people are like warming up for 30 minutes and doing these movements.
Yeah,
and
a bit of animal flow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I knew it all those years ago.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I think we've sort of come to the party a bit late, but hopefully by the time we're 70, we'll be all right on
exactly.
it. Mate, where's it going to be then? If we say we've got a crystal ball now, where is Nutrifix going to be in 3 years?
Yeah, so I think we would have scaled internationally.
Awesome.
So big cities like Dubai, New York, a lot of American cities. Yeah. We'd have, to allow us to do that, we'd be VC backed.
Yep.
We'd probably have a headquarters here with sort of 30 to 50 people. I want to build Nutrifix into a big trusted brand.
Yeah.
So at the same time we'll have an app. We also want to be like a trusted resource for healthy eating.
Yeah.
Up there with, men's and women's health. That
awesome.
sort of level of content.
Yeah.
I really sort of see us.
And so far, all the signs are pretty good. You seem to be well received by pretty much everything you've touched.
Yeah, we've only been going a year and a half, and we're definitely punching above our weight.
Awesome.
And I'm one of our sort of quotes is the biggest mistake a small company can make is to think like a small company.
Yeah.
So that just sort of encourages people to think bigger.
Yeah.
And that's certainly something. It can be my downfall, but also it's a.
But you have to. I think these days, not only you're in the tech world. Essentially, you are in health and fitness and wellness, but you're a tech company. You have to be ready for 100,000 people or 200,000 people on your platform, don't you? You can't be messing around. Okay, we've got 150 users at the moment. Cool, let's make this for them. You have to think big because you need to be big. These things only work at scale.
Absolutely, yeah. Hit the nail on the
head. Mate, that's been absolutely awesome. We've rattled on for about 40 minutes there, so some super information. You have to promise us one thing, though, mate. When you do get big in 3 years and you are in all these cities, you'll come back on the show, you'll update us with what's going on, because we love to speak to people that are actually doing something meaningful within the fitness industry and actually filling your concept, your app, for someone like me is awesome. And I think I do have Holly to cook for me, so that's she listens sometimes, but not often, so it's all good. But the actual convenience, time is our biggest commodity, and we want to be doing more with life. So you guys are taking that time and just bringing us really healthy food in London at the moment, but hopefully soon in other countries.
Exactly, yeah.
Mate, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the time, and 2 years or a year or 18 months when you're massive and famous, you're back on the show.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, Joel. Cheers.